Welcome to the While My Batteries Charge podcast. Join us as we talk about all things radio controlled. And now, your host,
Folks, this man, he is the king.
Mr. CCxRC himself, Tony CC.
Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome to another While My Batteries Charge podcast. In this episode, we're just going to be talking about some RCing that I just got to do this past weekend, which was a ton of fun, and a little bit about what I've been doing with RC recently, because it's been a ton of fun. So I think I talked about it a little bit last episode, but getting out with the Low C Razor Ray was a ton of fun, and bashing with that. I still haven't edited that video yet, so that's coming, and it'll be here very soon. I do have some other content that just went up, crawling the old what is it, the TF2 that I have. Can it still perform? I had a busy day of RC video as well that kind of just went through all of that whole day of, it's kind of a little vlogish. And that was like my Thursday that went from that all the way through doing all the RC stuff to the comp. And so videos are starting to hit again, you guys. Had that, just run a custom RC airboat from JBRCs. We're going to talk about that in this episode. And then we're going to be talking about going to Walter RC Park and running mainly crawlers, but with 5 hours at Walter RC Park. We got there about 9 and left just after 2, I believe. So busy day of RCing on Saturday. I didn't make it to the competition on Thursday. Just things got hectic and crazy, and it was a beautiful night. And so we decided to stay home and enjoy the beautiful weather that we had, because it's end of April here, and it was like 80 degrees. So it was one of those, like, let's just enjoy this while we have it, kind of a day. So we'll talk a little bit through some of this stuff that I have here on the YouTube that I was just kind of sneak peeking for you guys, and just kind of get through a little bit of what we'll be doing here on the podcast going forward. I have different ideas, and now that I've got some more time on my hands, I think I can do even a little bit more with this, and that's why I wanted to jump on here. I actually don't have a lot of time to do this today, because I've got to go help a buddy with a chicken coop that he's trying to get from another one of our friends, but it needs some repairs before it can be transported, since it's all rotted out the bottom. So we have to shore it all up and get it so he can travel with it. So I told him I'd give him a hand with it. We looked at it this weekend after the event, or not the event, but the time I spent with Travis at Walters. So I spent 5 hours there. Then we went and we helped with that, and then we had to shoot somewhere else later that night. It was a busy day. Saturday was busy. So we had an event to go to at my wife's work in the evening. So it was just like one thing after the other on Saturday. And I was like, I can't get to it today, but if you get everything you need to build it, I'll come and help you. And so that's what's going to happen. But that's why this will probably cut a little bit short. I'm going to try and keep things a little condensed. Things are still moving and shaking in the world and in the RC world, with prices and tariffs and all kinds of stuff that's getting a little bit crazy. We'll see what kind of impacts that's going to have on things moving forward. I know I got a new motor for the mini LMT in from Vuratech that I can do a test on, but I didn't want to do it to my Gravedigger Son of a Digger, because I want them to kind of be stock and just kind of race each other's stock. But I want to get one to upgrade, and I was looking at the price of them, and they're $300 now for the Megalodon. And so that's tough, especially considering my current situations with things. That $300 is a little tough right now. So we're looking at it, and I'm trying to decide what I'm going to put that motor into, which one of the two that I would want to do it in, or if I'm going to just bite the bullet and get the Megalodon, but we'll see. But it's tight for everybody, and even for these companies, and for, that's why pricing, and it's just a tough time right now. And so we just have to make decisions, but we have to be wise as well. And again, that's one of the things I've been trying to preach anyway, with the whole where things are going with the channel. And it just felt too much like everything new all the time. And as you'll see with these videos and what I'm going to be talking about today, all of this is stuff that I just have and that we're running, and maybe we'll do little upgrades to or little tweaks to, but we're just getting out and having fun with the RCs again and not worrying about what's the latest and greatest. It's what can I do to just go and have fun? So, what do we got here? So let's start. Let's start with the TF2. That thing was really fun to get out again. So I think you hear Travis's name quite a bit in this episode, but I thank him for having the idea for me to grab that and to get it going again. He said many people don't know much about it, so why don't you show everybody? I'm like, that's a pretty great idea. Well, let's let's do that. And so when did we do this video? The last podcast. I'm trying to see right here when I did the last one. So the 15th. So I would not probably have run that stuff by then. Just making sure I'm not duplicating talking points. I know I mainly talked about the LMP2. So anyway, yeah, we did take out the TF2 and had a blast with it. And that one thing was back in the day. So that car is trying to think when we used to do the RC camping and all that. I would guess it was like 2014, 15 in that kind of range. So 10 years ago almost. Might have been after that. Might have been 16, 15, 16. Anyway, they were running this truck back then, and they were making my SCX 10s and 10.2s look, and the original 10.2 that came out with the gray Cherokee, which was way better. But still, they had this thing, so it was outperforming those kind of trucks. So they had it dialed. I did change out the wheels, tires. I think I might have even gotten it as a roller, to be honest, when I got it, because I ended up putting in my own electronics and wheels and tires. And I went for something that was a little more scale to the truck, I think, with the tires. And so they were running a little bit meatier tires in that on it that made it really handle well. I remember he had some pit bulls that were super sticky on there. I have to find out what some of them were, because I would be interested in getting them and putting them on, because his lines that he could hold with that thing were insane. But anyway, yeah, I did basically paint touch-ups to it and some work on it to make it kind of my own and make it look ratted out. And, so that's kind of what I was going for with it. Doors that were like a replacement door in a different color and a different color hood. And like the thing's been just kind of cobbled together in order to keep it running. But it did pretty good. So the biggest drawback to it currently is that it has this huge metal skid plate mount for like the transfer case, I think is what sits on it. And it's just, it's this huge pumpkin under there that just hooks on everything. So I've heard that there's a flat skid you can get there for that now, and that would be a huge improvement for it. So I may look into some of that with it. It's not one of them that I'm looking to go crazy off-roading with anyway. It's a pretty scale, cool looking truck, and that's kind of how I want to drive it. I've got other stuff if I really am looking to get it to perform. And so we'll talk a little bit about what those are and what I was driving this weekend. But yeah, so that went pretty well. Still working on trying to get my Freestyle RC up and running. Basically need batteries. I need to get some new batteries for it. I think a lot of my Spectrum batteries, I know I have Spectrum on this. In my time off, I'll say, I really was negligent with a lot of the stuff. The batteries, just life was too busy, and I did not properly care for them. And so I'm in the point where I've got some batteries that are below a rate that they will now take a charge. And so I've been trying to bump them, which I know you shouldn't do, and we don't recommend doing. Just for, we're just going to say that we don't recommend it. It's not something that you should do. It's not really a factory thing that you should be doing, but I was trying to save them, and I don't know that they're savable. So I probably going to have to get some new 2S shorty packs to run in my Freestyle RCs. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And I was hoping, and I'm still hoping, to get them out racing here soon. So we'll see if I can get them up and running and get to some races and see how it does. Something cool that happened was somebody I met at USTE back in 2021 sent me an airboat that he's been working on, and JB's Airboats is called the Swamp Slider. Trying to think of the name of it, but yeah, he had it as JB's Airboats. So it's JBRC on Instagram, but also his name's Jordan, and I met him at USTE, and we chatted there for a little bit. But he's been doing this cool stuff, and um, he sent me one of them to try out, and I was a little worried, I'll be honest, because it's all custom made and there's 3D printed parts, and I don't want to damage it, right? I want it to last and be something I can really run. And I was helping him test it and do some things, and I was really hoping to run it on the snow first, but we didn't really have good snow. I got a little dusting that I tried it on, and it was okay. But one of the things that we realized was the prop, I think, was on backwards, so we flipped the prop because I think it's directional in the way that it thrusts better. So we flipped it because for an airplane, and so the way that it would be on an airplane motor will be to suck the air through it and push the plane forward that way based on the motor direction and the way it's mounted. Here, the motor's in reverse, and so I was like, I think we need to flip the prop so that as the motor's spinning, it would be drawing it through the same way it would be on the plane, but the motor's on the other side. So we did that, and I think we did get some more thrust as well, because I took it on water the other day, and it was so much fun. I have some boats. I have some speed boats, and I'm like, they're okay. We're on the water. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with RC that can be super fun on the water. And I just really like this. I don't know why it's not as fast as some of the boats that I had, but I just had more fun running it. The way that it would just kind of spin on the water quickly, and it kind of hopped and skipped. It was just a fun experience. So most of my boats, I'm like 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. This one, we drove it for probably 25 minutes, and then it's just worrying about the battery. Water's cold. I don't really want to have to swim to retrieve it if it runs out of battery. So, but yeah, it's pretty sweet the way that he set it all up and, got it all going, because he's been working on this since he was a kid, and, just really, really cool. Some of the scale motor details and stuff that he's built into it. And I think he did a fantastic job with it. It glides on the water well. It's actually made of wood, the hull, which is nice. And he actually put real slick bottom on it that they'd use on the real airboats like this. And so that's pretty slick. But anyway, overall, I had a blast with it. And if it was a really calm day out there, I think it would go even faster than I was able to get it. Then I was just slowing down because it was starting to hop so bad, that I just felt like we're going to get out of control here fast. But I think, and it still was moving quick. I mean, don't get me wrong; it was cruising pretty good for the size of it, scale of it, and being scale. It was pretty cool. So I can't wait to take it some other places. We're going to be heading to some friends here who have a cottage up on a lake about an hour north of here, so in the beginning of June, and that water there seemed to be a lot stiller, and so I'd like to try, because especially where it comes in, where they're off a little canal, and that would be really still right there to just launch it off of their dock and just go back and forth on the water there. So anyway, I've got plans for that and more videos coming on that, just because I'm having so much more fun with it. But I'd like to know, what other boats would you guys recommend? See, I want the tugboat. It's expensive. $500, but it's scale, it's decent size, and I just think it's super cool. I've wanted it since it came out. I haven't got it yet, but I just kind of keep thinking about it and keep thinking I might have to get it this summer. We have the Alpha Patrol boat. That one's really fun. Again, the super fast ones aren't my favorites. It's these other ones in the controlled and keeping them by you, and more the look of them running on the water, I think, than anything. And so the other ones are too fast to film, and it's not fun to film. And a lot of what I do with RC is film them. And so that's where I kind of like these slower ones, because it's so hard the way that they cut back and forth so quick on the water. And if you're trying to film and do it all and you're zoomed in because it's so far out there, it's just not really something that I can film well. So anyway, that's one of the reasons I did like this. I filmed a lot of it on my phone. My son came out and helped me with the camera and film some other stuff so we can get a little bit tighter shots on it when it would go out further. But we did a bunch of slow motion stuff and all that on the phone. And yeah, more content coming, you guys. It's really, really a cool thing. And can't wait to see where he goes with it. He's going to be, I guess, bringing him to market here. I think he just had a post on his Instagram about it. So that'll be something to definitely check out if you're interested in an airboat like this. It's definitely a cool setup that he's got. All right. So what did I do this past weekend? I got to be looking to wrap here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So I got a lot to talk about. Custom RC Airboat's great. Walter RC Park. I met Travis up there at 9:00 on Saturday. I wanted to go the previous weekend when they had their sugar bush crawl. But Dave's wife actually passed away that week, and I wasn't sure if it was going on or what was happening. And just with sensitivities around that, I just kind of thought that I wouldn't, and I didn't see anything, and I probably should have looked, but I also got busy. And my Saturday was kind of tight anyway, and so I wouldn't have got there till it was probably ending, and then I would have stayed and been there by myself because everybody else would have been there for hours at that point and probably looking to go. So we just decided to wait, and we came this past weekend, and because Travis was going to go too, and he also didn't go, and we were both mentioning, and we're like, "Well, what are you doing this weekend?" And I'm like, he asked me that, and I'm like, I don't think I have anything. Let's do it. So we showed up there. Funny thing, I charged a bunch of batteries. I had my Mojave 4S in the truck. I had my Losi Baja Ray in there. I had, what else did I have in there? I had an X-Maxx in there, 8S, and I had the two crawlers, which was my UMG 10, and I had my Element, my upgraded Element Ecto, and some other stuff. I had a bunch of my minis in there. And so I charged up a bunch of batteries for all those things so I could do the Mojave, excuse me, on 4S, but also I could run on 3S. I was just going to run on their tracks that they have there. That's the main thing I was looking to do, is just get some cool footage of them running around the dirt track that they've got. It's got some wood jumps on it, and you get a layer and drift the corners and get some cool footage and just make a fun video out of it. Well, in all of that, I was getting the radios ready. I have all these batteries. I'm like, I've got them in one of the old Venom square pouches, like lipo pouches, with the handle on it, zipped up. And I taken it into the truck. I put it on the back, and then I decided, I'm going to take out some of these disc golf bags and other stuff. They have more room in there. I'm going to get the radios. I've got this like tote in the garage. I'm going to put those in the tote, and then I'll put the batteries in the tote, and I'll put them in the truck. I like to keep my batteries up where I know what's happening with them, so that I can react as I need to if anything happens. So I have all that set, and I don't know what happened, but somehow I took the battery bag and I put it on a table just inside the garage, and it didn't go in the tote. It got left behind. So I almost didn't have anything to run, except that I did have in the X-Maxx, I had the batteries in that because I was testing it to make sure I had the right radio, because I had several radios and I wasn't sure which was which. They weren't labeled. I usually Sharpie on them, so I decided to get the Sharpie out, mark it, whatever. It was good. Left the batteries in it, unplugged them, threw it in with the batteries in the truck. So I had that to run no matter what. Luckily, Travis had extra batteries. His are Dean's connectors. Mine are, I have, one of the trucks had an XT60 and the other one had an EC3 plug. And so luckily Travis had a Dean's to XT60, which meant I had to run the Unimog. But later I was looking for something in my console of my truck, and I found a, what was it? XT60 to EC5, but I also found a XT60 to EC3 connector. That was an old Venom one that was just in this trap, basically, of junk that collects in my truck. And so I was like, sweet, that means I can also run my Ecto, which is what I really wanted to run. And the only bummer was they were only 2S batteries, and that has a 1400 kV motor in it. So slow was the name of that game. But luckily, Travis hooked me up. I couldn't run the Losi Baja Ray because the way that the plugs go on the bottom, and then I had about this long of extenders or things from the batteries to modify it over, and that would hang down below the truck, and it would catch and break off. So decided that couldn't be run, but it did allow me to run the Ecto, which was great. So we ran Trail 1 at Walter RC Park with he had his SCX10-2 with a Proline body on it, and that one has a Fusion Pro in it, and some other upgrades to it. He had I think that was the one that has the Savox servo in it. So he had nicer servos and everything in it. It was a kit, so he had to put all his electronics in it anyway. A little bit chirpy, those Savoxes can be noisy, but it wasn't a big deal when we were running. But yeah, so I went out with my UMG 10 first, and he went out with that Proline bodied SCX10-2, and it was fun. Trail 1 was fun. He definitely had an advantage with his nicer tire options and Trio wheels with the holds on it by J Concepts. I was running the stock UMG 10 tires because they look amazing, and they actually do pretty good. I think the biggest detriment to the UMG 10 is that it's wide bodied. And then to protect that body that you can't get anymore, I have the Scalar Fab steel sliders and bumper. So, but it's mainly the width of those sliders to get out under the body just made it so that with the rocks, I couldn't get through some of the spots that he could because of the wider girth of my truck. But it is one of my favorite ones to run. So, might be, I have some nice crawlers, might be my favorite one. I just love it. I think it looks amazing. I think it's super fun in the way that it handles with that weight up on the chassis with those steel rails and the bumper. It's not the best runner out there, not at all. It's limited in some capacities, but the stuff that it can do, it makes it look amazing, and it's super fun to do what it can do. So we had fun on those trails. It took us to the rock garden, which was fun in the end. Some fun wood obstacles and bridges and stuff out of fallen trees that were good. But we ran it for a long time. It was a long trail, and went back and switched up cars. That's when we realized we were going to go the other trail. But when I found that adapter, I'm like, sweet, let's change cars. And he said, I'll change cars too. So we did one of those whole videos that I just posted it's like 20 minutes long, and I cut a lot of it out because it was over, and I didn't film the whole time just for battery reasons, because we probably did that trail for an hour and a half. We were out there for a good bit on that trail before we moved out and moved to the front, but it was a decent amount of time, maybe hour something. But then we went back, switched out when there'll be another video on this, and that's when I ran the Ecto. The Ecto has the Spec RC wheels on it. It's got skill. It's got Rock Pirate stuff on it, the bed and the shock keys and scale metal supplies. They're trusses for the axles. The one in the rear is for the upper links. The one in the front is links, but also for the on axle servo mount. Sweet setup, man. I love this truck and the way that specifically it looks. I like the Ecto body anyway, shaping, all that. And so it's a chopped body that then sits on the Rock Pirates. What is it called? Their the little bed for it, and it's, oh man, it's a good looker. It looks fantastic. But I'm just running like the stock links and trailing arm setup that came with it. I haven't upgraded those to anything like metal or any whatever. Don't think it needs it. It probably slides better without it. But even like the arms, the sway, and all that are stock, and shocks are stock. But yeah, it's running the megalithic tires on the Spec RC wheels, and it's such a sweet combo on that truck. Absolutely love it. So, but that video has not been shot yet. We did another one with his Ascent, which I'll talk about a little bit here. But he ran his. It was running a Holmes Hobby brush motor in his other truck, and we were both going super slow. It was so slow, like it almost like long distances. Let's just pick them up and walk them. But I think we can outwalk their high speed. So we didn't have wheel speed, but luckily there's not anything with extreme climbs at Walter RC Park. So there's not really a lot of elevation changes and things like that that you got to deal with, or dirt hills or any of that to try and get up, or even a really long, tall rock walls to climb up. So wheel speed wasn't really necessary. So we got away with it being how it was. Travis also, so when we went back up front, we ran till my battery died that he lent me, which went a long time. We did most of that course as well. We got to where most of the rocks were, so I felt good about it, even though we died. It was like, we're missing a lot, because we in the past would, shortcut from the rocks, and instead of going back into the woods like we did this time, we would just cut to where there's more rocks and finish it out, just to shorten the trail. And so we didn't do that this time. So I didn't feel like we needed to hit those or throw a battery in. So we went up to the front, and when we got there, that we saw it there, mini trailer for 24 scale and 18 scale was in one of the barns. But Jeff had pulled it out, and it was all set up to go. And so I was like, dude, I'm going to run my Red Cat Ascent, because we've been comping that recently. Nobody's been setting up the course for the 18 scale. And so I was like, that's what I'm going to run. I love how they handle. I just want to drive it because I don't get to. And so he pulled his out, and his is sick. He's got this like rat rod body on it that he 3D printed, and he's got all these upgrades on it, and he's got it all weighted down and brass this and brass that, and underdrive this and under over on these. And it's like, whoa, let me see that thing. So we did a video just kind of detailing all the stuff that he did with the truck. And then we just went and drove. Unfortunately, it was super windy out there. We're out of the trees now, so the wind is just catching. I'd filled up my phone with storage at that point already, so I was using my my GH5 camera that I had in the truck with me, but it had a shotgun mic on it, but it had like the normal foam on it, and it didn't have like the dead cat kind of cover over it to help minimize minimize wind noise by going through all this, like the muskrat kind of looking thing on the microphone. So anyway, it's a little bit windy on that video, which is unfortunate. But both of these videos, we started by showing what the trucks were and how they were built. And I'd be curious what people think of that. I kind of like the idea of that, whether it's at the beginning or the end, kind of detailing the trucks out that we're going to be showing in the video, so you know what we're running. And so, it kind of answers some of those questions up front for people. Like, what do you like? How do you get it to do that? Well, here's our setups. I know he's even running 50 weight oil in that Ascent 18, which is one of the things that I don't think we talked about, but he and I had talked about. I don't know if it made the video or not, because it was later on when I was comparing it to how mine was handling, and I might have cut some of that out due to wind. But anyway, he had mentioned that he was running it with 50 weight oil, which was really just on the shocks, just helping it be smooth. And mine just felt a little bit more bouncy. But yeah, so that's coming. I ended up taking the X-Maxx out, and they had the ramps set. They were stacked on top of other ramps for them to mow. I just decided to hit it like that because the angle on the metal ramp was awesome. Instant first hit was a backflip. Just went for it. The X-Maxx just has so much good control that it was easy to land it perfectly flat off of that. Then went back and hit a double backflip, landed that perfectly flat. We got some front flips. Just, yeah, it was one front flip was a save going through their ring of fire. It wasn't flaming, but jumping through the hoop that was still there in front of the ramp. And I slowed down and then tried to speed up, and it just made it do something weird with the way it loaded the suspension, and it donkey kicked so hard that it was just going to crash bad. And so I just decided to hit the brakes and reverse and flip it the rest of the way. And yeah, it was pretty sick. Pretty smooth back or front flip that was just like a save front flip and not even intended. So the only thing I got to figure out with it is the steering sucks on it right now. There's zero, feels like dual rate steering rate. So I need to figure out the modes on it and try to get in there and turn it up and get a little bit more steering out of it, because it was painful how bad it was steering. So, and I don't know how the whole Traxxas radio setups and their TSM technologies and all that work. And I don't run their stuff very much. And so, yeah, I'm not familiar with it or programming their radio. So I'm going to have to look into it and just get it set, because that's pretty much the main one that I run when I'm looking to bash. I don't really have. I have the small Max still, but got rid of the XRTs, got rid of the Bigfoot. I only have my first ones here, like the Gravedigger 30th anniversary, and then I've got the Son of a Digger of the Stampedes that they had way back in the day, and then I have the X-Maxx. And I have always told people, I don't like a lot of what they do as a company, but that is one bad rig. And it just stock. I just keep it stock. You get into too many other things, I feel like they just start getting weaker and less fun, in my opinion, because you break stuff more. And if I can run it, and it runs awesome enough for me on stock. So, yeah. So I just leave it stock and just run it and have fun with it. And it's a fun basher that way. And so, and I feel like their wide max is about the same as far as fun factor and all that for it. Again, nothing upgraded, stock wheels, tires, just throw a battery in it and go and have fun with it. Now, some people are going to upgrade it, and they've got, that's their one car, their two cars, and they go crazy with it, or your Exocase, and you just go crazy with everything. Right, Joe? He's got nuts ones. I know he got another one. He said he was going to keep it stock. I haven't seen if he's changed anything yet. But there's a fun factor to it, just being stock and just going out and just having fun with it and ripping it. But anyway, so that's what I did with that, and just tore up the yard a little bit there and did some flips and tricks and put it away in pretty good condition. I think one of the shocks is a little, maybe not shocks, one of the bearings in the front, maybe a little blown. It's a little squeaky. But other than that, it's driving great. So last things, not a lot, because I got to get ready to go here. Gotta go help my buddy with that chicken coop. But a lot more coming, you guys. I got stuff still ready to go and rip and get some more video footage, and I'm curious what you guys want to see. Let me know. We'll work on it. We'll see what we can do. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. As always, guys, have fun RCing. We'll catch you next time.